To get another perspective from another non-UN body and looking at civil society organizations, we've got Mr. Faizi, the chairman of the Indian Biodiversity Forum, and he's also a member of the board in the CBD Alliance, which brings together NGOs from a number of different sizes around the world. And so, Mr. Faizi, tell us a bit about, again, the results that you found most interesting, and then how would you make use of in the work that civil society does? I'll even jump ahead to one of the other questions, how does this consultation differ with the sort of ways that you do consultation within the CBD Alliance and its members as well?
At the outset, I must say that this is a remarkable initiative, very cost-effective methodology of consultation to deepen participation of citizens and the civil society in both global and national decision-making processes. Even when you have a meeting of 3,000 people, it's impossible to give opportunity for 3,000 people to be heard. But here, through this process, that's very much happening. And besides, in this time of carbon dioxide buildup in the atmosphere, imagine all these people traveling to one city and how much of carbon dioxide that would have created. Although we environmentalists keep the air travel from international control, and we are the most traveled people of all professions, I believe. So there are a few very interesting things I found, which I would like the negotiators to know and to be informed of in their negotiations, especially the European Union itself, which Denmark is chairing. And that concerns the financial issues. Here you have developed country participants agreeing up to 60%, the majority, that the developed countries should provide greater contribution in addressing the biodiversity issues. I hope our negotiations will be a lot easier if that view of the majority reaches the negotiators. Another interesting thing I found is the agreement of a vast majority of the people about the sharing of genetic resources of the high seas. And this also would ease the negotiation process in the Intergovernmental Committee on Nagoya Protocol, where one of the critical issues now we are facing is negotiating the global mechanism on benefit sharing. That would be quite interesting and useful in that stream of negotiation. I also have a point that a few questions assumed wrong information. For instance, the question about the pre-Nagoya Protocol genetic resources. Of course, the citizens voted overwhelmingly to share the benefits out of the pre-Nagoya Protocol, but then the CBD itself, from which flew the Nagoya Protocol, set the deadline of the coming into force of CBD for applying the CBD articles on access and benefit sharing, the Article 15. So therefore, the Nagoya Protocol is indeed an expansion of the articles of CBD, in particular the articles related to access and benefit sharing. So the Nagoya Protocol cannot overrun the CBD. So therefore, the CBD articles are binding and they are alive, and the benefits run right up to the period of 1993 when the CBD came into force. And one other issue is about the agriculture and meat. One option that was, one assumption that I don't find very agreeable is that we need to, that the reason for poverty is not the sufficiency of food, either in countries, within countries, or globally. In many countries, for example, in my own country, poverty is the result of lack of access to food. We produce a lot, we also waste a lot. We threw a lot of that also into the seas. So therefore, providing access to biodiversity, food sources, is very critical, more critical indeed than the other options of intensifying or expanding agriculture. And another in the same issue was the access to land. Especially the South Asian countries, still a vast number of rural population do not have access to agricultural land, and land reforms are not being undertaken. Land reforms will serve the twin purpose of degrading, arresting and reversing the degradation of biodiversity and enhancing it in fact, and on the other hand, promote poverty eradication. So those options were not provided here. And I will certainly, argue for or plea to take this process forward, and in doing so, probably to expand the scope of questions and the range of options that you want to provide to the participants. For instance, one of the issues that I find important to include in a future consultation is biopiracy. In spite of 2 decades of CBD, that keeps happening. India loses 2,000 patents to Western companies every year on our biodiversity as well as traditional knowledge. And on the issue of communities, biodiversity has been historically sustained by people and their role, how effective it is or how much more it has to be deepened, and how the exclusionary systems of protected areas and other forms of conservation, which does often more harm than good to the triple objectives of CBD. And also one of the issues that is coming up in the negotiations is also the common but differentiated responsibility. It will be also interesting to see how the world citizens respond to that. So I wish the Board of Technology all the best in taking it forward. Thank you very much.